This is probably obvious, but I do think it's worth pointing out. Having a good to really good, hopefully elite, starting boundary corner opposite of Sauce Gardner is necessary for the Jets not only to have a really good defense, but it's necessary for the Jets to get the most out of the elite skill set that is Sauce Gardner's coverage ability. Now, okay, we can always Sauce deserve $100 and whatever $1 million contract because of the tackling and the interceptions. The agent and the GM can hash all that out. But I know that Sauce Gardner's coverage ability in terms of do wide receivers get open against you and catch the ball, that is as good as any corner in the NFL over the totality of the last 3 years. So that's an elite skill set with Sauce, his coverage. But if you have an absolute liability in the cornerback room, the opposing offense can essentially limit the ability of Sauce Gardner to impact the game because they just won't throw to him and they'll just attack your liability. And now you have a $30 million guy doing some cardio out there, right? And obviously this is true with a lot of positions, but I think it is more so with corner than any other. Because if you have an elite wide receiver 1, well, of course, if you have a really good wide receiver 2, then teams can't double your wide receiver 1 and all of that. Got it, right? Or if you have 2 really good pass rushers instead of just 1, then teams can't double team that pass rusher. It gives them more opportunities. Yes, but I mean the Rams, when Cooper Kupp had his 2021 where he had almost 2,000 yards, the second leading receiver was Van Jefferson, who had a solid year, but it's Van Jefferson. The Rams didn't care. They just said, we're going to Cooper Kupp. You can double team him. You can do whatever defensive alignment you want. McVay and Stafford were able to dictate the terms and throw the ball to Cooper Kupp. Regardless of his supporting cast, he was going to make a very high impact. Myles Garrett. Now he's got Mason Graham, but before that, last year, who was the second best Browns defensive lineman? I don't know. Wasn't a great one. I can tell you that. And sure, you can double team Myles Garrett. You can run away from him, but he's going to get you. He's going to impact the game at some point. It is unavoidable. Through 4 quarters, you're going to feel that Myles Garrett is on the other side of that ball. But with corner, if the other team, average third down has 5 eligibles, we're going to throw it to 80% of the eligibles, 4 out of 5, that are not covered by Sauce Gardner. Right? And particularly if you have a liability at corner, they're just going to pepper him with targets, and you can't do anything about that if you're Jets. They can eliminate you from really impacting the game if you have a liability across from him, and I think that is true with corner. More so than any other unit at corner, you're only as strong as your weakest link. And honestly, this video is about AZ Thomas, why they just made that investment a little bit higher than I think we were expecting to have depth in a pipeline starter. Hopefully him and Sauce next, on opposite sides of the field for a long time to come. But when I was looking at examples of, okay, what's the example where team had a liability at corner, and it was honestly the Ravens last year with Brandon Stephens. The team said, hey, we're not throwing towards Humphrey. We're avoiding Kyle Hamilton. We are just going to attack Brandon Stephens until he, can hold his own. And Brandon Stephens was the most targeted corner in the NFL last year. He gave up the most yards in the NFL of any corner last year. And the Ravens' pass defense was vulnerable in large part because of him, because they had that liability, even though they had 2 other all-pro players in their secondary. So I think that the logic of why the Jets wanted to make a significant signing and draft pick at corner makes sense. I have massive reservations about the individual decision to make it Stephens will be justified, but more so with AZ Thomas, you got to have another dude over there opposite of Sauce. I think more so with any other position, you have to have balance in the cornerback room to get the most out of your top-end talent. I think DJ Reed, for the most part, first 2.5 years of his contract, did that. Michael Carter, when he's healthy, can do that. So hopefully AZ Thomas can step in down the line. Hopefully Brandon Stephens can just play better than he did last year, and we'll talk about soon.